Last week, Smokin John did a fair amount of work on Meraai's interior structure, including cutting the outside opening for our gas bottle. Bram and Smokin John also gave me a taste of what Meraai's main stairway will look like. This week is electric as our newest kid to work on Meraai starts assembling all the components that will power up our motorhome. We finally stripped Meraai's engine right down in order to begin the process of modifying the engine for our turbo. And I purchased a whole bunch of green stuff. No, not the green stuff that was in the cookie that nearly killed me. Hectic, brr. But other green stuff. All this and so much more in episode 58 of A Dream Called Meraai. It is a new day, it is a new week, and there will be no challenges this week. Everything is going to go smoothly. Now, I can bet you there will be challenges, but what is exciting, it won't be in this episode, is the guys from Center Windows and Gauteng are coming down and they're going to measure Meraai up, and that's for the massive windows which are going to go on each side and at the rear of Meraai. I'm going to be starting to look at my interior ceiling, the actual ceiling panels. So yeah, I've got stuff to do, so I better get going. To kick things off this week, Smokin John is working his way slowly through Meraai and grinding down any small bumps and ridges on the welds of the vehicle's frame. Once that is done, he will seal all the exposed steel to protect it from rust. Smokin John has also welded the exterior door frame for our gas bottle storage area. I did some shopping recently and went off and got the insulation for Meraai's roof. So what we're going with is this green stuff. It looks like candy floss isotherm, and it's flame retardant. So yeah, I'm pretty chuffed with that. Now that will be combined with this aluminium bubble insulating material that was donated to us by our mate Pierre de Bruin. So hopefully we're going to have a very cool roof. Smokin John has swapped his welding machine for a knife. He is using the blade to cut the candy floss into strips to place inside the roof cavities. The foil bubble insulation will go over that. Then finally our ceiling boards. The cut strips of green candy floss draped over Meraai's internal frame makes me feel like a kid in a candy store. Smokin John pays as much attention to detail with the isotherm as he does with his welding. He makes sure there are no strands that will hang loose once the green insulation is glued into place. Before Smokin John can put all of this green candy floss in the roof, he's got to make sure every bit of exposed steel is treated, because if we put the ceiling in here and this stuff starts rusting, I'll be in a world of pain down the line. So he's going through the whole vehicle from the front to the back on the roof and making sure everything is protected. It's not Raptor, but it's another product that does a similar thing. It's just to make sure it's absolutely protected against the elements. We need to get the roof and insulation finalized as soon as possible. Reason being, we're getting close to the time that we need to start to run our electric cabling throughout the interior. The bright spark responsible for all our power installations is Donald McCullum.
In layman's terms, and I mean layman's terms, what are you doing here and how does this all work?
This is taking solar power, so your solar panel, it'll come through into a distribution of which is the MPPT controller.
I have one problem with Donald. I seldom know what he is talking about.
Battery. Okay. That keeps your battery going. You've got a smart charger, which will take the power from your alternator.
Right.
It will come into the charger itself.
Donald's been working on the electricity on and off between the other stuff that he does in the area. And every now and often he sends me a message of things that he needs. I read these messages and it's like I've just gone into one of those great tombs and I'm looking at this hieroglyphics on the wall. And it's like, no comprendo. This is in contrast to the incredible amount of knowledge I have amassed when it comes to Meraai's engine. Well, not really. This morning, Peter is busy taking the cover off where the timing chain is, and he's also removing the diesel pump off Meraai's engine. He needs to flip that whole block that you see behind me over so he can work on it, because we need to get those, you can see the cylinder, the chambers, whatever they are, to this oak, who's going to rebore them to accommodate the new pistons. The seals on the covers of the various parts need a fair amount of gentle persuasion to loosen and remove them. So I've just learned that it's not a timing chain, it's actually a timing gear, and that's a pretty staunch thing. What I also noticed is coming out the side of the motor is another piston, and I thought, now what is this thing? And apparently that little piston is for the brakes, and it goes into like a cylinder, which I presume builds up pressure to make the brakes work. As Peter worked through the many bolts that needed removing, it became clear that someone had been playing with this engine before. What Peter also discovered while he was taking the cover off that timing gear was every single bolt holding the plate in place was different. I mean, there were little funny things welded on there, so yeah, the backyard mechanics have had a ball on this motor. Next to come loose was the diesel pump, which is the size of an Uno's engine. That was followed by the cylinder thingy that is part of the braking system. The box of Meraai's innards was getting fuller by the minute. What Peter has to do now is to flip that massive chunk of steel. Peter needs reinforcements to help him lift the massive engine block. A fair amount of huffing and puffing, and the East Coast scratch and dent guys managed to flip the engine, leaving the crankshaft exposed. More elbow grease is needed to release the bolts holding the bearings that keep the shaft in place. I see many engines lying around this workshop. However, none are as big or solid as Meraai's broken down heart. Peter then points out some really good news.
It seems as though this whole crank is fairly new compared to the rest of the components around it, because this should also pick up, a similar color to that. So that's good news.
The same cannot be said regarding the bearings.
There's your main bearing. A little worn out.
My heart sunk when I thought about having to cough up more money for bearings. But then there was more good news.
So you replace those bearings then, huh?
Yeah, we already get them from Pretoria.
Oh.
So we already.
Oh, we have got them already?
Yeah.
Oh, like that.
Yeah.
Peter spends a few more minutes gently convincing Meraai to stop being cranky and give it up. She finally obliges. Once again, more muscle power is needed to remove this chunk of steel. So now she was no longer a crank. A bit more hernia-inducing lifting, and Meraai's massive engine block is safely inside my trusty Mahindra. Tell you what, those from East Coast Scratch and Dent don't need gym fees, eh? All you got to do is work on Meraai's engine. You're going to get strong, man. I'm on my way to BG Engineering in Port Shepstone. I'm going to meet up with an oak called Anthony. He's the man who is going to be reboring our cylinders. All this effort is to accommodate the new turbo that Brahm will be fitting soon. Okay, so we have arrived at BG Engineering, and Anthony is going to show me what they're going to do to Meraai's engine. The oaks are just busy unloading it now. Now it was the camera shy Anthony's guy's turn to do some huffing and puffing. That flash in and out the bottom of frame was Anthony. The machine behind me is a machine that does the boring, and so it'll just take a thin sort of shaving off the interior of the block.
So you can see here, this is all nice and shiny. That's what it'll look like once it's done. Something very similar to this.
Getting this engine ready to roll is giving me sweaty palms. Only time and firing her up will tell us if all is well in the engine department. Back at East Coast Scratch and Dent, Smokin John is adding those all-important touches to Meraai's step system. The checker plate that makes up the step surface has been cut to size. Now a thin aluminium strip has been fitted to round everything off. Just an interesting little stat. Our little YouTube channel has had over 36,000 views, so thank you all for the support. It's really appreciated, and hopefully we're able to share stuff that people can use, people in the same situation as we are. Over here we have got a completed step that Smokin John has done some incredible work on, and hopefully next week he can put this jigsaw puzzle together and we will have something amazing to show you. So yeah, until then, keep safe. And just a final word, If you're not vaccinated, do it. Together we can give this virus a snort clap. Remember to like us on Facebook and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We are also on Twitter. You will find us under A Dream Called Meraai. Until next time, keep your dreams alive.